Okay, so I'll get in real tight. There's Pleasant Hill. Again, you got Lantana, Crossville. The possible rotating storm is located near Pleasant Hill. I'm going to go ahead and show you the velocity scan, and we'll be switching gears here. And I'll go ahead and telestrate and highlight that. I'm going to go to the wall for those in the back here, and Cassie will be driving for the Weather Center, and we'll go back and forth. But I do want to show you and highlight this particular area of what we're looking at right now. That here's a look at the possible rotation just to the south of Pleasant Hill. So that's what we're looking at as far as the velocity scan. Again, this is moving off to the east-northeast. Let me give the particulars. It's a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado located 9 miles west of Crossville. That's what we're looking at right here. And it's moving east at 35 miles per hour. So, again, this is the storm that we're focusing in on right here. That's what we're looking at as far as right around Pleasant Hill. It's located 9 miles west of Crossville. But, again, as I just mentioned, it is continuing to track off to the east, maybe slightly north of east, but generally toward Crossville at 35 miles per hour. So here's what you need to do. If you're in your safe place, you need to be in your safe place, I should say, and you need to be in a sturdy home, building on the lowest floor, away from outer walls and windows, because at the very least, this is a severe storm that could contain some damaging winds in excess of 60 to 70 miles per hour at the least, on the low end. On the higher end, it's a possible tornado. So here's what we're looking at as far as the hail potential. It's an intensifying storm that could be developing, but it's mainly the damage and wind potential and the possible tornado with rotation. We have another severe thunderstorm warning. We'll go back to radar and show that for you for Fentress County right here. This is in place, again, same story until 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 p.m. Central. And so, again, this is also a line of potential damage and winds in Fentress County from Jamestown northward up into Pickett County. So for Fentress County and for Cumberland County, we have two separate severe thunderstorm warnings, but we also have that tornado warning for Cumberland County. Cass, if you go back down and we'll track that storm coming out of Cumberland County again. This is the red polygon. It's both a severe thunderstorm and a tornado warning. And just now east of Pleasant Hill, we're tracking this with our velocity scan right there. Again, that's what we're looking at with this potential inbound and outbound rotation showing up right there. And that's continuing to track. This is Interstate 40 right here. So, again, and I don't know if, Cass, if you can put a mark on that road. It's not coming to me right at the moment. But that particular, from Pleasant Hill to Crossville, this particular road right here, that's where we do have potential for some rotation. That's Highway 70. Thank you, Cass. As, again, this storm will continue to be tracking basically from Pleasant Hill to Crossville in Cumberland County. So you need to be in your safe place, lowest floor. Again, this storm will be approaching Crossville. We'll put a track on this probably less than 5 minutes from right now. Even basically need to go ahead and be in your safe place, even in Crossville, as this storm is going to continue to move pretty steadily off to the east. Again, it says 12 minutes, probably less than that, but just to be on the safe side, again, from Pleasant Hill to Crossville or anywhere in between, you need to go ahead and be in your safe place. Now, Lantana, it looks like this storm may be just to your north, but also be prepared anywhere in central portions of Cumberland County and north central. Again, we do have that tornado warning in effect until 6 p.m. Central Daylight Time. We're seeing some other evidence of some stronger winds. Where you see the brighter pink colors, those could have winds greater than 60 to 70 miles per hour, produce damage and possible power outages. But particularly, this is a tornado warning, radar indicated, but the possibility for a tornado that's moving just to the west of Crossville on Highway 70 and will be approaching downtown Crossville shortly. Now, the other storm in Fentress County, these are potentially some stronger winds. Guess I may have to go that way just a hair to get National's radar scan. I think that's maybe Morristown's right there. Perfect, right there. That's what we're looking at. Again, those could have some severe winds right there coming across west central and north central Fentress County. So, again, as you head up Highway 127, watch out for damage and wind gusts across the northern sections of Fentress County. Some hail possible, damage and winds in excess of 60 to 70 miles per hour. It could have quarter-size hail or larger, and torrential rainfall. So this is a line of storms. Again, we have a severe thunderstorm watch in place, even for Knoxville, till 8 p.m. So for much of our area, we have the potential for severe weather. And this one storm's intensifying enough where it's got rotation. So that's why we have a tornado warning for Cumberland County, 7 o'clock Eastern, again, 6 p.m. Central Daylight Time for Crossville and Cumberland County. Again, we do have that possibility of a tornadic thunderstorm and some rotation that could produce some damage of winds, again, power outages and down trees. So, again, you want to certainly be inside, away from outer walls and windows. And your safe place is always going to be the lowest floor of your sturdy home or building. If you have a basement, it's a great place to be. Again, in Cumberland County, it's a tornado warning. And then once the storm passes, hopefully it should be in good shape. By the way, the watch has been discontinued further back to the west. So hopefully this is the last round of storms we're talking about. Thank you, Cass. That's when we do the loop right there. Maybe you can do that again. We'll show that. There's a look at that storm. You can kind of see it wobble, rotate. That's what we're looking at. It's got inbound and outbound winds. It's a little bit of a couplet. So the winds coming toward the radar. This is looking from Nashville and Old Hickory, northeast of the city. But green basically showing winds going toward the radar and red going away from the radar. So that's our inbound and outbound. It's not necessarily a super strong couplet, but it's strong enough that it could be tightening up. And this is what we're talking about. When we see storms like this cycle up and down, okay? And so basically, if it's in a tightening or strengthening mode, it could be on the ground as a tornado with little or no warning. So that's why we're bringing you this updated information right now. We'll get you back to programming when we feel like it's safe to do so. But right now, we have a tornado warning just west of Crossville and for Cumberland County, again, for about 24 more minutes until 7 p.m. Eastern and 6 p.m. Central Daylight Time. Elsewhere, we do have scattered storms, non-severe, Rockwood, west of Athens down to Spring City. And again, severe thunderstorm warning also for Fentress coming out of Pickett County and Overton until 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 p.m. Central Daylight Time. So again, you can see that's the replay of those storms increasing. Here's the severe thunderstorm watch in place until 8 p.m. tonight. This basically is from Knoxville up to Tazewell, Williamsburg, Kentucky, and back down to Jamestown and Crossville. Goes down to Spring City. So there's the potential between right now through 8 p.m., which is only less than an hour and a half from right now. So we're not talking about a long duration of potential severe weather. Once we get past 8 p.m., our threat for severe weather is will start lessening or diminishing. But here's the risk as far as the scale. Out of 5, it's a level 2, elevated slight risk area for much of East Tennessee. And I think that may have even been expanded a little bit more from earlier. But that's a level 2 risk for all of our region as we go into and through this evening. Damage and winds in excess of 60 miles per hour and quarter-size hail, which is 1 inch in diameter or larger possible. Those are the two main threats. Heavy rain can lead to possible flooding. So, again, if you're just joining us, we do have a tornado warning for Cumberland County until 6 p.m. Central Daylight Time. We're seeing some evidence of some rotation at the very least, and this is a storm just west of Crossville. At the very least, damage and winds appear likely, but possibility. When you have a tornado, it's obviously, as you know, more focused, much stronger winds that can do a whole lot more damage if it is a tornado. Again, we don't have any confirmation that it is or on the ground. It could be a funnel cloud aloft, but if it happens to tighten up quickly, that's where we have issues. So that's why we're giving you this alert and letting you know this could be an impactful storm that's coming into Cumberland County and could be approaching Crossville here shortly. And that's what we're looking at. Again, just west of Crossville, this is at the airport, and continuing to see that storm right now. Cumberland County Playhouse. If you folks live in and around there near the Cumberland County Playhouse, give you an idea, near the airport as well. That's where this potential storm is located right now. So you need to go downstairs and middle part of your sturdy home or building, like a bathroom, hallway, or closet. Again, we got some focused high winds, possible tornado just west of Crossville, tracking east-northeast. Wait for the storm to pass by. As you look behind you, not going to be lasting that long. It's moving east at 35, 40 miles an hour. So once these storms move through Cumberland County and Fentress County, as far as the plateau, you're pretty much going to be in the clear later this evening. New severe thunderstorm warning from Morristown to track these storms, just be an issue for Scott County and for Morgan County until 7:45. So, matter of fact, further down the road, Anderson, Campbell, Morgan, and Scott, and again, severe thunderstorm warning. So what we're doing, Fentress and Cumberland counties are in Central Time Zone. That's handled by the National Weather Service in Nashville. Scott and Morgan, Eastern Time Zone, handled by the National Weather Service in Morristown. So we've got the crossover going. But both the National Weather Service office in Nashville and Morristown are tracking these same storms. And so now we've got severe thunderstorm warnings. But notice on this particular storm, And I think you said that a moment ago, Cass, but it's okay. I'll verbally mention it did have a tag with a possible tornado. So we're tracking the same set of storms here, two different clusters, one in Fentress County, severe weather in Jamestown and north of Jamestown, heading up toward Pall Mall and the Big South Fork, damaging winds coming out of Pickett, Fentress County, heads up in Wayne County and also northern sections of Scott and southern McCreary County down the road. And we have the tornado warning right into Crossville. So, Cass, let's go ahead and zoom on in into Cumberland County and just check the very latest and see what's going on. We do have that potential damage and wind threat. And again, as you see, what you're seeing with the different colors, we're crossing over with the radar beam from the next-rad Doppler radar in Nashville versus the next-rad Doppler radar in Morristown. Technically, it's Alpha in West Hamlin County. So that's it. See that? That's the Cumberland Plateau is literally the dividing point between both radars. And sometimes you have that overlapping, and sometimes it's a loft. And can't really say for sure if it's on the ground or not until we have a confirmed report by law enforcement or something like that, which we do not. This is radar indicated, but there's enough indications that we were seeing some rotation, a storm coming in from around Pleasant Hill and White County earlier. Now it's just about into Crossville. So you need to be in your safe place in Crossville, Cumberland County, as this storm will continue to track due east. Now, down the road, if it holds together and still has the potential for damage winds, could be talking about Fairfield Glade to Crab Orchard. So be prepared to be moving into your safe place in Fairfield Glade, Crab Orchard, and across the eastern half of Cumberland County. Thank you, Cass. Doing a track from this storm in Crossville, which is basically right now, and continuing to move due east. So Cumberland Medical Center and downtown Crossville, basically right now. And we'll continue to be tracking this severe storm with a possible tornado toward Fairfield Glade. 15 minutes. I generally like to shave at least 5 minutes off that. It's, there's a little bit of a margin of error with storm tracking software in general. And anytime there's a margin of error of a mile or so as well. So it's not a perfect system. So I like to shave about 5 minutes off that time so you'll be safe. So maybe 10 minutes or so, Fairfield Glade. And then, of course, some of the other communities there, as you see, in eastern sections of Cumberland County. But be prepared to move into your safe place. And as we see downstream, we also have those warnings for Morgan and Scott. So, again, a tornado warning for Crossville, Cumberland County, other parts of Cumberland County. It does include Fairfield Glade. It does include Lantana, both north and south of Crossville, and Highway 127 into downtown. Again, we have the potential for some hail, but also some damage winds, possible tornado. That's in effect until 6 p.m. Central Daylight Time. So 18 minutes from right now, say 7 Eastern. Got a quick fix on our software. We'll get that taken care of shortly. But also severe thunderstorm warning for Wartburg up to Oneida and Huntsville until, I believe that was in effect until 7:30 or maybe it was 7:45. There it is, 7:45. Again, that will be for Morgan and Scott as well as Campbell and Anderson. And notice, again, it has a tag on you. This is a new feature we're going to show you now. We'll have different tags of what the main threat for these storms are and the severity level. So if it's a little bit of an extra level, you'll see that's what we call a tag on the bottom part of that screen. So again, you'll see that displayed sometime, and we'll do our best to explain that to you going forward. Other storms from Rockwood down west of Athens continue to increase. Now, as far as, let me throw this out real quick. There are graduation ceremonies taking place tonight, been going on from about 5:30 through at least 8 to 9 p.m. I know one particular one at Bearden at 8 p.m. tonight. Okay, so here we are. It's coming up on 6:45, so heads up. We do have these scattered strong storms that are going to be working their way east-northeast. Our latest Futurecast had these kind of moving into the Central Valley between 7 and 8 p.m. So, basically and they're starting to move off the plateau into the far western valley as we speak, from Rockwood now west of Athens. So already starting to do so. So over the next hour or so, we are looking at these potential strong to severe storms making their way into the valley. Doesn't mean there's going to be tornadoes, but this strong to severe storms with some damage winds, but impactful storms, heavy rain, some lightning, and gusty winds at the very least. So for outdoor festivities, graduation ceremonies, again, heads up. You can see it right there on our app. You can follow it on the phone. And by the way, sign up for those weather alerts if you haven't done so already, and you can track those as well. This is where you see the blue colors. This is damage and winds in excess of 60 miles per hour. That's now east of Clark Range in southern Fentress County, right along the Fentress-Cumberland County line. There's 60-mile-per-hour winds right there. Again, once we see that lighter or brighter shade of blue, that's the 60-mile-per-hour threshold, more or less. Now, it could be aloft, doesn't mean it's on the ground, but the potential, along with heavy rain, the heavy rain can transfer those strong winds down the surface. So we'll track this storm as it's moving east at about 30 to 40 miles per hour. And so basically right now, east of Clark Range at Genesis, Atkins Mill in 5 minutes or less. Deer Lodge Academy into Morgan County, 5 minutes. And Deer Lodge itself, 15 minutes. Again, maybe 10. And sometimes storms that are intensifying, sometimes they tend to speed up a little bit too. That's another reason we'll kind of shave off a little bit. Sunbright in about 20 minutes or so from right now. Lansing says 27 minutes or less. So heads up in Morgan County. Again, this is the storm in Fentress County, separate from the one in Cumberland County. It's a line in general, but two different cores that we're tracking. But in general, Fentress and Cumberland moving into Scott and Morgan. Damaging winds are possible and heavy rainfall. So be prepared to move into your safe place. You know, could have trees swaying, could have down trees, some power line outages. You don't want to be near windows or outside, certainly, when strong to severe storms are moving in. So make sure to move indoors to your safe place and wait for the storms to pass. Not going to have to wait real long. Once we get past 8 p.m., maybe 9 p.m. in some areas tonight, the severe threat should be lessening. We have a severe thunderstorm watch in place until 8 p.m. So, yes, back to the Cumberland County storm. Again, now this is the scan from Morristown because the storm's tracking east, so a little bit more aloft with the radar beam here. And do we see a clear rotating signal right now? Not necessarily, but there's evidence that we did have that, and it could still be present. And again, because we're overlapping in radar beams right now in Cumberland County and Crossville specifically. And so we could still have a possible tornado there. And that's why we're letting you know and keeping you alert and apprised of that. Elsewhere, severe thunderstorm winds are likely in Fentress County that's about to move into Morgan County. Now, we're going to continue to keep you updated and track these storms. Yeah, Cass, let me send it over to you for some updated info.
All right, folks, let me give you a quick update on what we're seeing here right now. So we're looking at the velocity scan that Todd was just talking to you about, and we have a couple different areas that we're concerned about right now. First, we do still have that tornado warning in effect for about another 14 minutes or so. That's in effect for Cumberland County. As Todd was telling you, what was once showing signs of rotation is beginning to weaken. So that's good news. But if you are within that tornado-warned polygon there, which includes the Crossville area, and if you're in Crab Orchard and Fairfield Glade, go ahead and consider yourself to be close enough on the line. Please take shelter in the lowest level of your home away from doors and windows. The good news is it looks like the storm is weakening. Do not take your chances. It is better to be safe than sorry. So go ahead and go to your safe place. For those of you who are down the road from this storm, downstream, the National Weather Service, this is also, not only is it in between two different radar sites, this also is two different National Weather Service offices. Cumberland and Fentress are covered by Nashville. Morgan, Scott County eastward, those are covered by Morristown's National Weather Service office. So that's why sometimes there's a difference in what you see between the warnings. So the warning that's in effect for Scott and Morgan County that also includes western portions of Campbell County and parts of Anderson County with the tornado possible tag, they feel that a tornado moving into that area, the confidence is very low on that happening, the likelihood of that happening. But because the cell has a history of showing signs of rotation, they added that tornado possible tag. Either way, if you are in a severe thunderstorm warning or the tornado warning polygon, you need to be taking shelter, though, because in addition to that tornado concern, we're also concerned about that damaging wind threat coming right now out of southern Fentress County into western portions of Morgan County. So that bright blue that Todd was just showing you, man, oh man, traveling along 62, that's going to be coming right along Deer Lodge Highway into the Sunbright area in about the next 15 minutes or less. So if you are in Sunbright right now, Burrville, even down into the Wartburg area, you need to be taking shelter away from doors and windows right now. The reason we ask you to get away from doors and windows and put as many walls between you and the wind as possible is because not only could this wind cause trouble, but any debris that's in that wind is what could come through your door or your window. So that's why we want you to get to that interior room in the lowest level of your home. Right now, our velocities are showing us some up there in that 60-mile-per-hour range. As Todd was explaining to you, this is, again, well above the surface, so it may not be reaching the ground, but the potential definitely exists. So if you are under any type of warning, you need to be taking shelter. We also have a new special weather statement, this tan box down here, for this little series of cells that's working its way up the valley from parts of Meigs and McMinn County into northern portions of Ray, getting into Loudoun County now, and moving into Roane County from the west. Each of those little cells could be producing 40 to 50 mile per hour winds, or possibly some hail as well, but not enough to meet the severe criteria of having a warning issued. I know it sounds complicated. The bottom line is, if you're under a warning, you need to be taking shelter. Special weather statement means it's going to get feisty, but you're not going to meet that warning criteria. It looks like the storm, okay, so the National Weather Service office in Nashville, this is about the tornado warned storm over here in Cumberland County coming into Crossville. They're saying it looks, quote, suspicious. And there's no clear rotation velocities evident at this time, but they're going to keep the warning going for a little bit longer just in case. Because as Todd was explaining, this is pretty high up in the atmosphere, and it's right in between the two different radar views. Let me show you what we mean again. Where you're seeing the green views, that is from National Weather Service in Morristown. The red views showing up from Nashville. So both of them are very far away. That's why we're right kind of in the middle of it. And we're not seeing any clear evidence of rotation anymore. At one point, though, coming into Cumberland County, I should say, near Pleasant Hill, we definitely saw clearer rotation than we have right now. So the bottom line is, with these storms, we're going to continue to track them here for you because they still could be very dangerous. I think the tornado threat may be starting to decrease. We didn't really have a favorable environment for tornadoes anyway today, but we do still have that damaging wind threat now coming out of Fentress County into Morgan County. That bright blue color that you see right there coming into the Deer Lodge Academy area near Gateway School, going to be eventually near Deer Lodge Elementary School, and then into the Sunbright area. Please take shelter if you are in the path of that line of storms, because this is now becoming our biggest concern as the tornado warn cell in Cumberland County is beginning to weaken. We're also watching those cells that are further down to the south here, coming into Harriman, into Paint Rock, and coming into the Athens area very shortly here. You're also going to have some very gusty winds and torrential rain, possibly some small hail mixed in there as well. I'm going to send it back over to Chief Meteorologist Todd Howell for more information on these storms.
Okay, Cassie, no, thank you. Very good, very much good coverage there, and thank you for that update. As Cassie said, yeah, kind of the National Weather Service in Nashville, kind of watching that storm, not clear rotation, a little bit of a notch, just still trying to show up between Crossville and Fairfield Glades. Again, we want you to be safe. And that's simply why we're bringing this extended coverage, to make sure you are safe and prepared and informed that this could be a possible tornadic thunderstorm with it's got some rotation in it, and if it can go up and down. So a lot of time these storms, if they've shown you a kind of a flag in the atmosphere, so to speak, that the atmosphere can produce enough rotation to produce a tornado warning, it can cycle up and down again and still. And so we're wanting to make sure until this storm weakens or is no longer a threat, we're going to do our best to keep you informed on that. As Cassie said, other strong storms may have some hail developing down around Rockwood, and looking at one of the latest scans on this as well, and a little bit of a stronger cell there, as Cassie was talking about, from Roane County down into Ray County. But the storm again from Crossville into Fairfield Glade, again, this is a look from the National Weather Service in Morristown. We don't see a clear rotation with this. The tornado warning is in place for about another 7.5 minutes from right now until 6 p.m. Central Daylight Time, 7 Eastern, for Cumberland County. As Cass was also talking about, that storm coming out of Fentress in northern Morgan County, heading toward from Deer Lodge and also Sunbright, Lansing up to Rugby, could certainly have also some damage in wind gusts. So we're looking, maybe take a wider view of what we're looking at. Again, these storms will continue to be tracking off the Cumberland Plateau and working their way, again, into the valley between basically right now and about 8 p.m. So over the next hour or so, we're going to be tracking these storms. Now, what you see the area shaded here, that's for just below severe levels. That's likely for winds that could be 50 miles per hour and maybe some penny-sized hail, or at least below severe hail. Where you have severe thunderstorm warnings, and obviously the red tornado warning, that's for damaged winds more likely in excess of 60 miles per hour at least. Again, tornado possible in Cumberland County, and also hail that could be a quarter or 1 inch diameter or larger. That's kind of the criteria, 60 mile per hour winds and 1-inch diameter hail or larger, quarter size or larger for severe weather. Just below that for the wind and hail potential from Oak Ridge, Lenore City, and down towards Sweetwater. But this is going to be tracking into the valley, is doing so now between right now and 8 p.m. And we'll continue to monitor and track these storms as they work their way east. And you can see the energy. Notice how quickly these storms really develop with the lightning, the torrential rainfall. Do watch out for some high water issues. Some of the creeks and streams could get swollen and flood and get out of their banks pretty quickly. A little bit of a flash flooding episode possible briefly in some areas, and probably going to have some flood advisories in addition to the potential severe weather. Those severe winds are now moving out of Fentress into Morgan County, northwestern Morgan County right here. Again, continue to head towards Sunbright, and there's 63-mile-per-hour scan. Again, maybe aloft, but with the heavy rainfall, can easily be transferred down to the surface. So just west of Sunbright, again, Rugby to the far north, but you got Highway 27, Highway 62, and Highway 52 to the north. We'll track this line of damaging wind gust in Morgan County and could be producing down trees and power outages. Hopefully not, but Burrville to Sunbright and continuing through northern Morgan County. These storms will continue to track on off to the east. Cassie just tell me a confirmed wind gust 58 miles per hour at Crossville Memorial Airport. Also, thank you, Cass. And just across the road from there is the Cumberland County Playhouse. So hopefully everybody's okay there as well. But just shy of 60-mile-per-hour confirmed wind gust. And technically, a severe thunderstorm is 58 or greater. So that's kind of a severe thunderstorm wind gust at the Crossville Memorial Airport, just south and west of Crossville right there. So as those storms, again, we were talking about that at the least, whether it's a tornado or not, likely going to have some severe winds that can produce some damage and power outages. So that's why we want to make sure everybody is safe and prepared. And you can see this line that is generally from around the Big South Fork, now east of Jamestown, from Scott County, Morgan County, all the way down into Roane County, and it extends all the way down to Athens in McMinn County and Inglewood, and it's working its way east, at about 30 to 40 miles per hour. So, and there's a look at, we're showing vertical integrated liquid. We call it VIL for short. Basically, we're just looking at how much, not only liquid, but how much ice potential is there for hail production in the atmosphere. And so it's just kind of a different product that NextRad Doppler radar can look at. It does a whole lot of different things, not just showing the rain and the wind, but the hail potential. And so it looks like maybe a little bit of a hail core developing west of Athens, also in coming out of Ray County into Roane County. And we're going to continue to keep you updated on these storms. Again, 4 more minutes, tornado warning for Cumberland County and elsewhere between now and 8 p.m. These storms move into the valley. Cassie, I'll send it back over to you.
All right, Todd, as you were just tracking there, this is the potential for hail with the vertically integrated liquid, or should say this is the area that has the better chance of seeing hail when you see those brighter yellows and oranges showing up there. So down in McMinn County, coming into the Athens area, you're not under a severe thunderstorm warning by any chance, but hail nickel size or penny size could be falling from that cell that's going to be moving into your area very shortly here. So heads up in Athens. Whoa, that storm's getting fun down there to the south. We're going to have to keep watching that one. Wouldn't be surprised if something ends up issued with that cell down there to the south. We're also watching, of course, the concern when that happens, that if that hail core collapses and all that those little hailstones and that heavy rain come down to the surface, it creates very strong winds, and that also creates a wind threat with that cell too. So if you're in Athens and Nyota or along I-75 near there, you need to be going ahead and pulling that car in the garage if you can, or taking shelter in away from doors and windows. We also have a bright velocity showing up now coming into areas just to the west of the Paint Rock area, coming into Roane County that we're watching as well. And of course, we're still watching those potentially damaging winds coming into western Morgan County too. We're also continuing to monitor what was at one point that tornado warning storm in Cumberland County. The good news is that tornado warning is going to be allowed to expire now. So that is very good news as far as all that is concerned. We should see that actually disappearing out of our system very shortly here. We will continue to track these storms. Goodbye to our Fox viewers, and we're still here on WBIR for you.